Let's see if everything is working. It's been tweeted out. It's on Twitter. It's on Facebook.
As we're getting set up, did you see Bob Knight just passed away?
No, I did not see that.
Yep, Bob Knight. That just came out that Bob Knight passed away.
Oh. I still remember going to the Hearn Center. We were playing Texas Tech, so Bob Knight was going to be there. And all the Antlers were wearing orange hunting vests, and I really didn't understand the reference. And then my dad told me the story of Bob Knight shooting his friend while hunting. So,
yeah,
classic.
Yeah. It's wild that a guy that coached a basketball season completely undefeated might not be known for coaching a basketball team completely undefeated. I mean, there are a lot of chairs that are now safe.
Right.
And I think he smacked a kid around on the sideline too once, but obviously he was a good basketball coach. Not to make light of his passing, but
no, never wish ill on anybody, but good time to.
Dude was a character.
Joke around a little bit. He's giant in college basketball, so
for sure.
All right, so we're just going to jump in. Hey, everybody, this is Joe Langworthy here with my co-host Thomas Wolfel for episode 33 of Tailgate Talk, a 6-column sports podcast. So first things you guys might notice if you're watching on live or if you watch on YouTube is the beard is gone for me. I have shaved. I am participating in Movember, which is a charity initiative to raise money for men's health initiatives, such as prostate cancer and testicular cancer research. This is a cause that's near and dear to me. My grandpa had prostate cancer before he died. My wife's grandpa had it before he died as well. And so, definitely something that means a lot to me. You will see a mustache here in the coming weeks as we get farther into November. And if you would like to donate, I have tweeted the link a couple times, posted it. You can find that at Joe Langworthy is my personal Twitter account. I've tweeted about it and will continue to tweet about it and post Instagram updates and all that. So would love your support, but don't feel any pressure. If anybody wants to grow a mustache with me, feel free as well. Join my team, do all that. So but now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about some Mizzou football, huh?
Let's do it. Big week.
So we are on the road this week, heading to Athens, Georgia, to face, I think they're a decent team. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
do you think they would beat the Carolina Panthers?
I'm a Chicago Bears fan, and I am confident they'd beat the Bears. So,
yeah.
You got to remember though, look, Georgia, they have lost a couple games this decade. So,
right. It happens. It hasn't happened in 25 games, but it happens.
No, since was it 2020, 2021? I don't know, one or the other. But yeah, it's a big game. Obviously, Georgia's, like you just said, I think they've won 25 straight. Maybe they haven't lost in basically 3 years at this point. But you got to lose at some point in time. You don't win forever, and there's not a better week for a team to take them down than this week.
Yeah. So we're going to try something on this. I've never done this before, so if this doesn't work, blame me. But I'm going to play a video, and I'm just going to get Thomas's reaction to it. So
let's not get carried away with the Nick Saban comparisons, Paul. I mean, even for you, that's
Griff, first of all, it was a caller who called in and said he's the young Nick Saban. I never said that.
Okay. You did say he was the early candidate for SEC Coach of the Year.
Yeah, and I think
don't think it's playing.
Yeah, well, meanwhile, you got a guy here that's won 24.
Playing on my end.
That's fantastic.
He
He
can't
started out
scratch
with the number
Coach
one
of the
team in the country. Drink was
You not hearing
win
it?
6 or 7
Nope.
games.
He started out with the number one team in the country. Do you see what's on? You got a quarterback that's making his 8th career start, right? You can't. You couldn't even tell me.
I'm gonna let it play for
Listen,
you.
I've been to Athens. I know because I saw you. I
almost
don't
done.
need a primer on Kirby Smart. I know who he is.
Well, let's not turn this Georgia team though into last year's or the years before.
I'm not doing anything. I was just wondering why you just kind of sideswiped Eli Drink.
All right, so Thomas, I guess, couldn't see it, but that was a video of a Georgia media member on the Paul Feinbaum show, talking about how great Kirby Smart is because this isn't last year's Georgia team, and it's a very impressive coaching job that he's done, and that their quarterbacks only started 8 games and they've still won 8 games, and I'm not taking anything away from Kirby Smart by any means. He's obviously an amazing coach and one of if not the best coach in the country. But this mindset out of Athens, Georgia, that they have something to, they can play the underdog card at all, is hilarious.
Yeah, it's something that I could see the video. I couldn't hear it, but it's something that Kirby Smart has somehow convinced people in Athens. Oh, I mean, they go into the SEC championship game last year against an LSU team that had 3 losses, and somehow convinced the guys that everyone was doubting them and they were underdogs, and people thought they were only going to win 8 games that year. I'm like, what? I mean, these kids, what planet are they on? I've not read a publication that's, I mean, heck, their over under for the season was 11.5. I mean,
the question was, are they going to win out or are they going to lose once?
Yes, right. Their over the win total for Vegas was 11.5. There's nobody that's been doubting this team. Yes, they've had a lot of turnover. The coaching job has been fantastic, but they have an NFL player or future NFL player at basically every single position. Mm-hmm. This is not a surprise that they haven't lost a game yet. It would not be a surprise if they don't lose a game this year. But I mean, yeah, for the, I mean, that just tells you though how, I mean, I'm sure the coach, has a roundtable with the local media members begging them not to talk too fondly of his football team, and clearly they listen.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing that I think really gets me. I don't even mind that Kirby Smart uses it because of course coaches are going to do whatever they can to motivate their players. It's the fact that the media around them buys into it, doesn't call them out. We make fun of Gabe DeArmond all the time, but he would go on Paul Feinbaum and be like, "Listen, this is stupid." And he'd call it out, and he'd be right. But these Georgia, and it's not unique to Georgia. I'm not going to say that. Arkansas is, maybe the worst about it. But the media that just buys into these narratives that the coaches are using to motivate their players is comical.
Well, generally speaking, the media is extremely fair-minded on everything across the board. Well, so it's totally a shock to me that you would have, no, but yeah, I mean, it's clear that the people in Athens, Georgia, they call the head ball coach before they make any statements or write any articles, and I'm sure the police department has the head coach's phone number on speed dial in the event they run across a player doing maybe
they just
making a poor decision.
They don't even tell the coach. Just take them home, tuck them in.
I guess. Yeah. So yeah, but that's where we're at. So I'm sure they're going to be motivated. That Georgia team will definitely be motivated when we get down there Saturday for sure.
Yeah, that's the thing is you can't expect Georgia to take any team lightly. And maybe Missouri more so than almost anyone this year because of what we did last year to them. I mean, what was the final score of that game?
Was it 26-22, I think?
Sounds right.
And really, we gave them the outside of probably the
yep.
Outside of that first playoff game they had against, I guess that would have been Ohio State. We probably gave them the best game of the year, definitely in the regular season, and probably if you include the SEC championship game too. So, I mean, it's going to be tough to sneak up on them. Like you said, we probably should have won that game last year. If we had any resemblance of an offense, we would have won that game last year. And, you know, the players will remember that on their end, and I'm sure that they're showing them game film after game film after game film, reminding them that this is a Missouri team that can come down to Athens and win if Georgia doesn't bring, their A game. So, we're not going to sneak up on them. We're going to have to show up and beat them, beat them straight up, I think.
Right. Yeah. I do think that this is the kind of game that we need to play like there's nothing to lose. We need to pull out all the stops and run some trick plays and, gadget plays and that sort of thing. But yeah, Georgia is going to be expecting our best, and they're going to be at least mentally fired up for that game. Obviously they can't control everything, and, we had a bye week, they didn't. So there are, maybe some advantages in that, but yeah, we need to expect that they're going to come out swinging as well. And, I'm not going to do predictions right now, but we do need to play our A game to have any shot of winning this game. Because, even if Georgia doesn't play their A game,
they can still beat the snot out of us
if we don't show up. They can still beat us playing their B game if we don't play an A game.
Right.
So, so let's go ahead and start just kind of breaking down Georgia a little bit. Georgia on offense, has a very inexperienced quarterback, as that media member said. He's a scrub apparently, and Kirby Smart's a genius for being able to pull anything out of him.
One of those scrub 5-stars
that's been learning the offense behind Stetson Bennett and whoever the other guy was last year.
Right.
And has played some the last couple of years, and is really struggling. He's completing 73% of his passes, has passed for 2,400 yards, 14 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. So just as Pat McAfee would say, bum.
Yeah, he's no better than you or I being out there.
Right.
If you really think about
it.
Like,
what are we doing here? Like, what's happening? But no, Carson Beck, I think, like you said, 5-star recruit, has bided his time, played sparingly the last couple of years behind Stetson Bennett on 2 national championship teams. And now he's getting his opportunity. He's obviously showing he's a good quarterback. So I think in a lot of ways he is kind of similar to Stetson Bennett, but in a lot of ways he's not even as mobile as Stetson Bennett, I don't think. He's not very mobile, which I think will benefit Missouri. I think you and I have seen enough Mizzou football to know that, for whatever reason, mobile quarterbacks kill us. So, that will help, but at the same time, he doesn't need to be mobile to just sit back there and
he's got arm talent. So he's got arm talent for sure.
Yeah, and their offensive line obviously is pretty good. I was going to see, he's only been sacked 5 times this year. He's played 8 games, so he's been sacked less than 1 time a game. So that's not very encouraging. But I think that also goes to show that he hasn't been pressured a whole lot, which obviously helps inflate those numbers. And I don't think it's something that we can just count on being able to get to him with 4 guys, but I do think that getting pressure on him could help maybe create some some chaos that he hasn't seen so far in his
Right.
Georgia career.
Yeah. No, I'm with you 100% on that. And, I think kind of the two big things, and I'm not going to say that Mizzou has any sort of advantage, but I do think that there's a couple things that Mizzou can bring to the table that maybe Georgia hasn't seen yet that might just give us a shot. And
Yeah.
one of them is, defensively, Johnny Walker's really come on strong, and obviously Robinson's solid at the other end position, and we bring pressure in a lot of different ways. And I think that again, I think their offensive line. I was trying to figure out who the Bears are going to draft, because there's a good chance we have two of the first, two picks this year. But I think that one of their offensive linemen are projected to go in the first round, one of their tackles. So, they got plenty of talent there, but, we're going to try to have to confuse them a little bit and provide pressure. And if you take a look at our games, even our loss against LSU, we brought a lot of pressure. Jaden Daniels beat us because he was able to get away from it. And I don't know if Carson Beck can do that. But I do think that, defensively, if we're going to win this game, we've got to put them in a position they've not been in. And that is Carson Beck nervous that he might get hit if he holds on to the ball more than 2 seconds.
Right.
So
and I think
a big piece of it.
And I think were you done with your? Sorry, I didn't want.
Yep, go for it. Yeah,
but I was going to say,
the other side of the ball.
I think the other thing that we can do that maybe Georgia hasn't dealt with is our run defense is really solid. And they have a really good running back, Dajan. I don't know how to say his name. Dajan.
Right.
That's probably terrible pronunciation, but Edwards. He has 95 carries for 556 yards, which you look at, Cody Schrader has 800 something yards, and you're like, okay, that's not that impressive. He's only played in 6 games, and he didn't play against Ball State or UT Martin, so he didn't get those
right.
those easy 100-yard games the first 2 games of the year. So he's averaging almost 100 yards a game, and it's been against what I believe is almost exclusively SEC competition. So really good back, and has not really been stopped a whole lot. I think his last couple of games, even he's I was gonna see. I had it written down somewhere. He had 96 yards against Florida last week, and then 2 weeks ago against Vandy, he had 146. So, really, really good running back. But Missouri's run defense is really, really good. So if we can keep them from, getting those 4 or 5 yard gains on first down and keep them kind of behind the sticks, put them in obvious passing situations rather than, those 2nd and 3s, 3rd and 3s, where it's who knows what they're going to do. And that's where play action can really kill you. If we can keep them in 3rd and longs, keep them behind the sticks, force Carson Beck to make those plays with, 7 guys dropping back into coverage because we know they're passing the ball. That's something that they might not have, really seen a whole lot of this year.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that that's going to be even possible.
Right.
But I think that's the goal. And I think that's something that Mizzou might bring to the table that is they're a little, obviously, I think they're better than Vandy at that. Probably better than Florida at that. And I think we showed that we're better than Kentucky at that. So,
You're right.
Georgia really hasn't seen that.
No, you're exactly right. Just to build off that, obviously, like you said, good run defense. The other thing, too, is I think we've probably got the best cornerback tandem that they will have seen this year.
Yeah.
Now, that's, again, they're so loaded with talent, it's going to be almost impossible not to allow somebody open at some point in time. So it's going to happen. And the X factor might be whether or not Brock Bowers plays. I know, I think about 15 days ago, he had an ankle surgery, and they've been really kind of hush-hush about what that recovery time for him will look like. But if he doesn't play, then I think you're looking at a situation, like you said, where, okay, you stop the run, and you've got 2 corners that can, stay on someone long enough to where we're going to, give our defensive line a chance to get to the quarterback. Now, like you said, we've not seen it, or at least Georgia's not seen it. There's a chance Carson Beck could step up in the pocket and start slinging the rock around. And at that point, you just throw your arms up and say, okay, they got us.
Right. It's one of those, they might play their A game and you have no shot either way.
Yep. But, the only way we're going to have a chance to do this is if we do something defensively that they've not seen before. And I do think they've gotten out slow in a number of different games. And I think part of that is probably because people throw different looks.
Right.
So we're going to need to make them pay early. And like you said, if we can be in the backfield, both, in the run game, but also going after the quarterback, then that's going to be a game changer. And it could really put them in a position they're not used to, which is your only chance at beating a team like that.
Right. And, on the injury front, it sounds like pretty much everybody, with the exception of maybe Chad Bailey, is fully healthy. Fully healthy Enos Rakestraw, obviously is going to really benefit the Tigers in that regard, like you said. So, definitely a good thing. And like you said, Brock Bowers is kind of an X factor for this team. 500 something yards receiving.
Missed the last 2 games, I think.
Missed the last 2 games, and nobody is even in their second leading receiver, Benedict Arnold, has like 200 yards less than that.
Right.
And has been healthy.
Played every game. Yeah.
Has played every game. So definitely definitely an X factor in this game. So
for sure.
I don't wish injury on somebody, but he's already been hurt. So I feel like I can wish a longer recovery, and that's not bad, right?
You want to make sure you want to make sure he's fully recovered for his NFL career.
I care about his career. I want him to, get second, third, fourth opinions, have it looked at, fly out to LA, have it looked at by those doctors. Doctors in California are better, apparently. So then flip side, other side of the ball, obviously Georgia is well known for its defense. Their entire defense from last year is now playing for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Right.
So obviously they're well known for defense. Kirby Smart's a good defensive coach. Always has a good defense. I was looking over their defensive roster, and none of the names stood out. You and I were kind of talking about that, which doesn't mean a whole lot, but it just means that I don't recognize them from last year. So anybody stand out to you that you want to maybe highlight on that side of the ball for them? Or
well, you mentioned the defensive back, I think, with four interceptions. I have to imagine if they've got a safety with 4 picks, we're going to know where he's at all times and probably look away from that. But this was going to be kind of my second big point, just in that, obviously the first one is, hey, we have a chance to give them something they haven't seen, give their offense something they haven't seen yet, which is a run-stopping defense that can get into the backfield whenever on a 3rd and long situation, put pressure on the quarterback. But I think the other thing that we obviously bring to the table that they have yet to see this year is, when the teams are both, lined up, when they go to do the coin toss before the game starts, the best player on the field for the first time all year is not going to be sitting on Georgia's sideline.
Right.
Now
he's going to be not warming up for kicks. You're talking about Harrison Mevis, right?
No, Harrison Mevis is, well, I'll tell you, he's going to be probably getting a hot dog in the stands, but
well, yeah, true.
No, but Luther Burden is a talent that that they just haven't seen yet. And again, I mean, look, they've got NFL caliber players in their defensive backfield. So I'm not saying they can't guard him, but I do think this is going to be an opportunity, and Luther Burden knows this. I mean, this is a situation where if he goes out there and pops 130 yards, he goes from being a first round pick next year in the 2025 draft to being a top 10 pick.
Right. And I think he might get himself an invite to New York at the end of the year.
And he might get himself an invite to New York. And so, I think we have to stay balanced. We can't become too one-dimensional because they'll just pin their ears back, and our offensive line I don't think is set up to handle a pass rush like that. They've got way too much talent on their defensive line. But if we can keep a somewhat balanced offense and keep them guessing, like you said, then I think we'll have a chance. And, I mean, we beat Kentucky handily, and Luther had, 15 yards? You don't do that against Georgia. He's going to have to show up and have a big game against Georgia and put up statistics against Georgia. And he's talented enough to do that. I think, like I said, I think he's a level of talent that Georgia has not seen yet this year. And I think that could be kind of, if we win this game, it's going to be because the defense is able to get pressure on the quarterback and he's unable to handle it. And we have a receiver that goes out there and shows why he's maybe the best receiver in the country.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, again, talk about it on the other side of the ball. I think this bye week couldn't have come at a better time. I think it was clear that whether they were saying it or not, Luther was not feeling the best the last couple of games, and so getting him a week off to get healthy, look out, So, so I think it really does kind of come down to. I liked how you said it, where, it's not that Mizzou has an advantage anywhere necessarily, with the exception of maybe Luther Burden. But we have advantages over every team that Georgia's played so far.
Right.
So maybe the best shot at somebody beating Georgia so far. Not saying that it's gonna happen or it should happen. Obviously, if we played this game 10 times, Georgia probably wins 7 or 8 or 9 of them.
Yeah.
But we only play the game one time, so it only takes once.
Mm-hmm.
I think we showed that in 2013. Obviously, Georgia wasn't the juggernaut that it is now, but they were still good. I think they had won the East the year before. Everybody expected them to win the East in 2013, and Mizzou beat them in Georgia, which kind of spurred the 2013 season to where we wanted it to go. And it was 10 years ago, so why not now?
Why not now?
Again? Why stop now?
There you go. So, if you're actually a real fan of Mizzou, you'll be in the stands on Saturday. I don't know how big of a fan you are, but I'll be there.
How many games you went to this year?
No, I'm teasing, but no, it's a big game, and like you said, this is Mizzou's chance to put ourselves really back on the map. I think there's a lot of people nationally. I think now we're ranked 12th if you go by the playoff group. If you go by their rankings, we're 12th.
Pause for a second. I want to talk about that for a second. If it was a 12-team playoff and we finished ranked 12th, like we are right now, we wouldn't make it in because Tulane or whoever would get the automatic bid, which would be the most Mizzou thing possible.
Oh yeah.
To have a great season, go like 11-1, end up ranked 12th, and not make the playoff.
Yeah, that would be something that's something we'd be fully capable of doing.
100%.
But the other thing that Mizzou would be fully capable of doing is finishing 11-1, going to the in a year the year before the playoff starts, being a team that definitely would have gotten in because you finished 11-1 and lost in the championship game. Oh, that's a team that in a 12-team playoff would have made it, but we were a year early. That's also a very Mizzou thing to do. So, it's a question as to what's more likely, Mizzou being Mizzou and winning out in a year that we could have made the playoff, but probably wouldn't even if we finished 11-1, or Georgia being Georgia and just demolishing anybody that thinks they have a chance to beat them.
I say let's give it a shot. Let's go 11-1 and just see what happens.
See what happens.
Yeah, I'm okay if we get Mizzou, we get Mizzou. But
I never turned down an 11-1.
Right.
Yeah.
But
but we'll see. we'll see.
Yeah.
It's going to be. I know it's it's a fun atmosphere for them just because. When was the last time somebody rolled into Georgia this late in the season? With a real chance to actually maybe win the East. It's been a while, so I know their fans are going to be excited. It's going to be a wild atmosphere. We're on ABC or CBS or whatever, and
CBS at 2:30.
Yep. So hopefully we don't pull a Kentucky. Kentucky thought they had a chance and got the doors blown off of them, but.
Yeah, it's not exactly the SEC East championship game because obviously if Mizzou wins, they'd have to do some other stuff. But it's basically if Georgia wins, I think that they win the East.
If Georgia wins, it's over because they're not going to lose 2 out of the last 3 games.
And I think even if they did, they'd have the tiebreaker over us. They already have the tiebreaker over Florida, and those are the only 2 teams that could finish. I think
Tennessee's lost to Alabama and Florida. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But like I said, I think we got as good a chance as anybody as beating Georgia this year, just given the way we're set up. And you got to think about it too. They've got dudes on their team trying to earn contracts. So do we.
Right.
KAD and Rakestraw, they're playing for the NFL draft position. So is Hopper, Robinson.
Reese,
they're all
Mookie Cooper, even some of those guys that are fringe they're not playing for first round draft picks, but they're playing to get drafted.
Yeah.
And so
we do have wide receiver depth they probably haven't seen yet either. But I don't know for sure. You can go on and on and on. At the end of the day, they've got as many 5-star dudes on their team as we have almost players.
Right.
But only 11 play at a time. And, if we play well, we'll have a chance. And if you get into the fourth quarter with a chance to win, then let's see what happens.
Right. I'm with you. So do you want to do score predictions?
Yeah, let's do it. I'm going to guess we're going to lose. And so if you guess we're going to lose, we're either going to look really smart or we're going to look really stupid and still be excited about it. So
no, we're just really impartial.
There you go. unlike the Georgia media, yeah,
we're just impartial.
What do you got?
I don't like publicly picking Mizzou to lose ever, which is why we didn't do picks on the LSU game, because I think both of us thought we were going to. So in that spirit, I'll pick the upset.
No, okay.
I'll say 24-13, and it'll be a lot closer than that, actually. It'll actually be like a 17-13 game, and we get like a garbage, that kind of thing.
Look, they started off slow last week, really, against against Florida. They started off slow against South Carolina. With the way our defense has been playing the last couple weeks, the last 7 quarters, if we can get out to a 2-score lead early, I think our offense is going to have enough to continue to score, at least at times, and our defense could have a chance to keep the score low enough. I don't think it's impossible for us to win. I think it's unlikely. I'm going to guess we lose. I'm going to guess we lose 24-21.
Okay.
I think we have every bit of chance to win this game as anybody that they've played this year. I think they're going to be highly motivated because we almost beat them last year, so they're not going to overlook us. But I think at this point we just have to say that Mizzou's a good football team, and good football teams, give themselves a chance to win. And I think we'll be in it. I'd be surprised if we weren't.
Right. Well, when are you heading to Athens?
Well, we're actually headed to Atlanta Friday morning and hanging out with some friends, a couple friends that we had that used to live here in Charleston that moved. And then the 4 of us are going to go to the game. They graduated from Georgia. So
Oh, good.
We're gonna go. My hope, honestly, is supposedly the Georgia fans, when they see an opposing fan, they get down on all fours and start barking. So I'm hoping to catch that on video, so we can
What a
so we can
weirdo
kind of
fan
make fun of
base.
people for that. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
get video of that. We'll post it on the Six Column Sports Instagram,
Yep.
Twitter. So
Yep. Start calling the pooches.
right. Oh man. Well, that's it for us, guys. Thanks for listening. And hopefully we'll report back in a few days after a Mizzou victory. So
Fingers
MIZ.
crossed. ZOU.